what's good with y'all? It's Keymajor. I'm back with another video for y'all today. Tell me, show you guys how to make emotional R&B samples for Future. So let's just get straight to it. Here's the FOP, and it's very simple. I just have a main melody playing, which is some Rhodes, percussion, and then some vocal chops from my new kit, which I'll get into in a bit. First, starting off with the Rhodes, I have this Analog Lab open and I have the Ethereum Rhodes preset selected, and this is the melody I played out. So even though it might look complex, this melody is very simple, and I'm just building on top of my original ideas. So for an example, I first started with these bass notes down here. Now I knew I wanted the progression to go this way. The root of the melody is F, but I wanted to start it off with it being down 4, which was C sharp. And this just gave it a more melodic, emotional feel instead of the bass notes being static and just playing F the entire time. Next, I took this up an octave just to layer on top, and then I took this and then up 7. But after that, I wanted to build the chords on top of here. So what I did after is I built a G sharp major. All I did is I took the D sharp up to F. So after this, I took these two notes and I stretched them out so they're a little longer. And I copied these notes over. So I had the first 2 chords down. Now I was going to work on the second ones. Now down here, as you see, the bass notes go down. So I wanted to have that same kind of pattern with the second chords. So like I said, I brought this one down 1 note and I copied these 2 over, just brought them down 2 notes. Now for the last chord, all I did is I combined both of these right here. So all I did is I copied both of them. I just shrunk them to be half the size. Only thing I did is I moved this over here and I put this down 2 notes just to kind of layer even more and give it some more low end. Not all the time this applies, but most of the time, the more notes you add, the more full it's going to sound. Obviously, if you add a lot of notes, it's going to sound too full and it's going to sound bad in general. But if this melody was just these simple chords right here, it would definitely not sound as full as this. Now, the next thing I did is I try to have a note play throughout the whole sample the whole time, which is what I did with this F right here. I'm not sure why, but it's something that I've learned from a lot of other sample makers and just, you know, R&B type of music in general. They always have one sort of note played throughout the whole thing, being very repetitive, but it sounds good and it makes the sample sound a lot more emotional, a lot more melodic. And that's pretty much it. After that, I just laid down that very catchy repetitive pattern on top. Now the way I came up with this pattern honestly was just, it was something I heard and something I wanted to add, but to guide me was just using the same notes that I've previously used down here, just up an octave. But one thing I did make sure I'd use was tension notes, which are notes that are right next to each other. These obviously cause a lot of tension, and these could either make your sample sound really dark or very sad and emotional, melodic. But the last but most important thing I did at the end was just humanize the melody, and I did that by messing with the velocities and also just having it off the grid and having some not connect all the way, you know, some off the grid by little, by a lot. All these little tweaks is what makes your sample sound really realistic and just sound a lot better in general. But that's it for the melody. Now for the effects, I just added a basic echo boy. I just turned the feedback up and then the mix down, just a simple delay. Now after that, it's very simple. I just added little textures to kind of fill in the melody. The Rhodes did most of the heavy lifting. Next, I added this perk loop. Now all these sounds that I'm adding next are all from my new kit, which is not out yet, but hopefully it's gonna be out in August. But I use the insta-kill perk loop. And all I did is I just drag and drop and I turned the mix down really low, so it's just adding a little bit of detail. And at the end, I just cut it off so it has like this little pause, giving a little bit more rhythm. Now, even though it's very quiet, you can still feel it, you can still hear it, and it still adds a lot of texture and especially rhythm to the melody. That's what perk loops are for. And then next, I added these vocals. Now, these vocals is just a mixture of 3 vocals and then 1 trumpet in the background, very quietly layering on top. But the main vocal I first added is this platinum vocal. Now, for all these vocals, you can just drag and drop, and they're automatically time stretched to be, you know, on tempo. But for this one, I just pitched it down 200 and I put it on Stretch Pro, so the pitch of the sample is still kind of the same. I'm gonna go over the effects at the end because all of these sounds have the same effects. So I'm gonna just show you guys the ones I added after that first. Next, I added this little like quick chop called Significant Other. So I just threw it in at the end since, you know, there's this kind of gap here when the first one cuts off. So I wanted to add these two to fill it in. Then to layer on top of that, I added another vocal chop called V2 Columbia. This one's a lot more dry. This one's just one single vocal, so it was perfect to layer on top of other ones. And you can see they fit perfectly. The first one has a lot of low end. This one's a lot more higher pitch, so they fit and blend perfectly. Lastly, after that, I added this trumpet. Now this is in the winds, which the winds have even crazier stuff. So yeah, tons and tons of stuff you can just drag and drop and light up your melodies instantly. But for this one, I used a Old Town trumpet. And it was already in key. I just dragged and dropped and it sounded perfect. Like I said, I wanted to make it quiet and blend in the background instead of it, you know, popping out, being very bright. Now for the effects on the vocals, I had ambience reverb. I just turned the mix down to 26%, so it was a little low. And then I had the ozone imager to kind of make them more wide. A lot of them are a little more mono. We could always change that with an imager or any type of like stereo enhancer. And then lastly, just an EQ filtering it out. And that was pretty much it for the saxophone. I just took out a tiny bit of the highs, but no effects on here. The sound already sounded perfect. And then obviously the master. First I had the sound shifter pitching it up to and then detuning it, EQ raising the highs, cutting some of these harsh mids, the lows, and then raising the bass a little bit, and then soft clipper making it a lot louder. So after that, I exported it and I pitched it up 300 cents and I shortened it by a little bit so it was a little faster, and this is the final sample. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the sample. The original sample sounded like this as well. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer and which one you would use. But that's pretty much it. It's very important you guys follow me on Instagram because I'm going to be dropping free demos on my Instagram. That's only going to be on my Instagram. You're on the screen right now. Make sure you guys will follow me over there. I'm also doing one-on-one live sample lessons. Just DM me that you want to sign up for a class, 1 hour long. Go over any vibe you want. Plus you get the free FLPs and a free kit. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I really hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you can see more videos. I appreciate you guys with all the support lately. That's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.